Welcome to the Drew Yari Show.
Hey, what is going on, guys? I sound really loud, I'm sorry. It is, well, by the time you hear this, it'll be Wednesday. It is a nice, chill, a nice, relaxing, breezy Texas weather tonight. And I'm not your weatherman, by the way. I'm just trying to lighten the mood. I usually like to just say hey, hello, and get into the news. I am actually, I don't know, kind of want to have a conversation with you guys to see how long this lasts. How was everybody's Halloween last week? I know it seems like Halloween happened 5 months ago, but it was literally last week, last Wednesday. Halloween, what I did, it was a pretty chill night. Originally, we were gonna go and buy a ass ton of candy and hand it out, but then we realized one crucial thing: we're broke as fuck. Yeah, that's what happens when you become an adult. You pretty much are broke all the time. I mean, I guess it's a good thing knowing that you're broke because you actually paid your bills. But that still sucks. What we didn't realize is we still had Halloween candy from last year. It's still good. It was still eatable. We checked it just to make sure it was, didn't have E. coli in it or anything. So we were able to hand it out to trick-or-treaters, and I basically sat in my chair, had the bowl of candy, and it felt kind of awkward at first because we didn't get a lot of business because all you saw was just a dude sitting on a chair in a freaking random spotlight. So I looked kind of creepy. But we had our Halloween decorations up. I made sure to put them up. It was just simple stuff. Had a tombstone and a couple of little tiny decorations like creepy little roaches and creepy mice and crows, whatever you want to call it. And I was able to hand out every single piece of candy in that bowl. Kids are cool. Costumes. There's a lot of kids dressed up as Spider-Man, which I thought was pretty cool. In the candy we have like these little Spider-Man treats, or like, I guess, sugar sticks or whatever you call them. And it was to the kids' liking. They loved it. They went apeshit crazy for it. So that was cool. Other than that, pretty chill Halloween. After I was done handing out candy, I just went back inside and we just continued to watch more horror movies and fell asleep. That's about it. So how's everybody's Halloween? I want to know. Just let me know. Drop it in the comments section. Let me know how your Halloween went. Other than that, I had a job interview on not Saturday, yesterday. Actually, last Halloween, I got notified to come in for an interview for a job. I'm not gonna say what. I'm not gonna say where. But it's from what I saw in the application, it's supposed to be a pretty high-paying job. I would be working a night shift, but it's nothing I haven't held before. I used to work at a place where I would go in from 4 a.m. to 12 p.m. And I remember when I told it to the interviewer was like, "Yeah, that actually sounds worse than this shift. This shift actually seems like it'd be a lot better." So we'll see how that works out. And I had something else I was going to say. Picked out my health insurance. That's always fun. I think at the end of this month, November, my parents, I think, are officially selling their home, which is the home I grew up in. And yeah, I kind of have mixed emotions about that. I mean, your home where you grew up with is your home where you grew up with. I had good memories there, had bad memories there, and I don't know. It's taking some time to getting used to it. It's one of those things. It's like you don't really want to think about it too much. You want to wait till it actually happens so you can react to it. So I don't know. When it happens, I'll know how to feel, and you guys will know how I feel. And that's really about it as far as what's going on in my life. As you guys saw on Twitter, in 3 weeks, the November 28th episode, I will have John Draper. Yes, the John Draper from Wrestling Soup, from Global Balding. He will be on the show finally. I have been dying to get him on. I had Mish on, which was fucking awesome. I need to get him back on. I had Kevin Castle on, who is his shoot brother. I had Trez on. I finally have Draper on. And it's going to be friggin' awesome. Do we know what we're going to talk about? No. But that's the beauty of it. That's the thing about the show, is that I like to have guests on because when I have a guest on, I never have notes. Because I like it to just feel like, it's just two dudes talking or two people talking. When it's just me, I usually just have my notes because I don't know. I tend to work better when I have someone else because that way I have stuff to bounce shit off of. So yeah, Draper, Mr. John Draper will be on here in 3 weeks. We'll same schedule. We'll record on Tuesday, and you'll hear the episode on Wednesday. So I'm looking forward to that the week after Thanksgiving. So let's have something to be thankful for. John's so fucking awesome. I love him. He, I straight up just asked him, I would love for you to be on the show sometime. He said, let's set something up. And that's the way it worked out. So in 3 weeks, you'll be hearing that. For the weeks before that, I'm not sure. But, that to look forward to. Why the fuck are you doing? My black cat just tried to, jump on my laptop. Anywho, that's pretty much it. Let's jump into the news. The news of the week is Walking Dead. You hardly ever hear about me talking about Walking Dead for good reason. I used to be a huge fan of Walking Dead. I got into it when it was like in season 3, I think. And that was when they were, doing the whole governor bit. Because I remember when the show first came out, it didn't appeal me. It didn't appeal to me all that much. I wasn't too crazy about it. And then I watched the marathon that AMC likes to, do every, once a month. They like to do a Walking Dead marathon. And I was hooked. I was immediately hooked. I noticed I was more of a fan of, maybe the first 3 seasons. And then when they did the whole governor bit is when I started to tap out a little bit. And especially when they brought in Negan, that's when my interest just dropped, really fucking low. Because Negan is just not... Negan does nothing for me. It has nothing to do with the actor. I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I loved him in Supernatural. He's a very good actor. He could play a good bad guy, but just not Negan. Negan... When you look at Negan in the comics... And I didn't really read the comics, but just judging by the way he looked like just a big and very intimidating guy. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan does not fit that bill. He's too much of a pretty boy. He could play a villain, but he can't play this villain. I'm sorry. Negan just kind of ruined the show. But the news of the week with Walking Dead is it was Andrew Lincoln's last go at the show. He's not done playing Rick Grimes. Rick Grimes is just done being on Walking Dead. I guess I can do a quick review for the show. This past Sunday was Rick's last ever, his last go on Walking Dead. I haven't been keeping up with the season. Basically, from what I saw, what happened in the previous episode, Rick was doing something. I'm not sure what the hell it was. He ends up falling on some like metal pipe that goes right through the side of his abdomen, I guess. And he's stuck there, and there's this horde of zombies, like literally, like not even just a horde, but like a fucking like a football team full of zombies that are on his trail. So he takes off his belt. He hangs on something to where he can like levitate himself off this metal pipe, and it looks like it hurts like shit. He gets up and he's walking, and he gets on his horse, and they're walking, but the whole time he's passing out and having these hallucinations. And the beginning of the episode is interesting because it takes him back to the first ever episode where he's in a coma. And I remember there's always been this theory that The Walking Dead is all inside Rick's dream because Rick is still in the coma in that hospital back in Georgia, the whole series is in Georgia, but he's still in that hospital in a coma, and that was always the theory. And it was always like, damn, I wonder if that was actually true, because that'd be fucked up. But no, he's hallucinating back in the first episode. And anytime he has these hallucinations with whomever, someone's always telling him to wake up. So he wakes up, and then he falls asleep again, or not falls asleep, but he passes out again and has a hallucination that he's in Atlanta, like in the first episode, and he sees Shane, John Bernthal, who it was announced, before the season began that he would make his comeback. Basically, just as like a hallucination, dream sequence, whatever you want to call it. I like this scene. Everybody liked the scene with him and Herschel, and I liked it too, but I like this scene because basically it was Shane telling Rick, I'm proud of you, I knew you had it in you. And, the one dynamic I found interesting about it was that Rick did kind of carry on, Shane's, I guess his characteristics, but he did it in a better way because I remember somebody, it was actually Akasan on YouTube, who he pointed out that Shane wouldn't have lasted when Negan was here, because I think Negan would have killed him automatically. It was kind of like the same reason why he killed Abraham, because they wouldn't have fallen in line. That's why he didn't kill Rick. That's why he has eyes on Rick, because Rick fought in line. Shane doesn't make a very good leader because he would have put somebody in the group at risk. He wasn't good at protecting people, and there's always that impression with Shane, you can't protect him, Rick. You can't save them, Rick. Well, Shane can't protect people either. So, Rick was able to be a better Shane than Shane, if that makes sense. So I like that scene with him and Shane. I also like that line where Shane pretty much acknowledges that Judith is his kid, and Rick calls him an asshole, and Shane says, "No, I'm the asshole. I'm the real asshole." So I like that scene, and then Shane tells him wake up. So he's walking, and what happened? He was in a cabin, and he wakes up, and there's a zombie in his face, and he gets out and gets on the horse again and walks. Falls asleep again, and then there's Herschel, who the actor Scott Snyder, I believe is his name. He passed away. He was able to film that scene before he passed away, and it was a pretty emotional scene because the dynamic that that Rick has with certain people in his life. Shane was like his brother, and Herschel was the father figure. He was the father figure in his life. Herschel was everybody's dad, which I remember when he died. They showed the behind the scenes footage on Talking Dead, and he had a very profound impact on everybody on the show. His TV, daughters, they're very emotional that he died, because that was their father on the show. And I never met Scott Snyder. I wish I did. He seemed like a cool dude. He seemed like a nice guy. And I remember seeing him at Comic-Con. I didn't get a chance to talk to him. I wish I did, but it sucks that he's gone. It was a very emotional scene when he appeared, and I got a little emotional when he smiled and said, "Hey, Rick." And Rick is an emotional mess. That he said, he told him, I'm sorry what happened to you. I'm sorry that I couldn't protect you, because if you remember, Herschel died in a very ugly way. The governor cut off his head, and then his head turned into a zombie, and they had to curb stomp it. And I just remember going, that was fucked up. Like, that was a fucked up way to go. So that's just The Walking Dead in general. It's just fucked up. And the last hallucination he has, he sees I'm blanking on the name. Sasha? I believe that's her name. It's a very interesting scene because he's standing over a pile of bodies, and it's literally everybody alive or dead. You see a Shane, you see Herschel, you see a Glenn body, and then you see Sasha rise up. And I don't recall Sasha having. Maybe it's because I kind of dropped out of the show and I stopped watching it for a while. But I don't remember Sasha really having that much of a relationship with Rick. I mean, everybody had a relationship with Rick, but everybody had some type of friendship or relationship with Rick. But I don't remember Sasha really being that important to Rick. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but then again, I stopped watching the show for a while. But, like, my whole thing was, and I like that scene, she was talking to him and whatnot, but I don't know, I was thinking, why didn't Glenn show up? Why didn't Glenn appear? Like, that seemed more like a scene for Glenn to appear in. You know what I mean? Because, the first episode, you hear, "Hey, dumbass," and it's Glenn talking to Rick, and Glenn, Glenn aside from Daryl is, his right-hand command, and he was always very important in the series. He was the voice of reason. Everybody had some type of role, in Rick's life, aside from his actual family. Herschel was his home. Shane was the Glenn was the voice of reason. Shane was, the tough love, big brother. And, the interesting part was, a lot of people were wondering why Carl and Lori never appeared. Well, I wouldn't have been that big on Lori appearing. Yeah, the interesting part, one of the creators revealed why Carl and Lori never appeared. And, I mean, I don't think anybody would have cared if Lori appeared, honestly. But, Carl, who just died in the previous season, the reason why is because the whole point of that, sequence was he was trying to find his family. And if they would have just showed Carl and Lori, then it's like, okay, he found his family. The whole point was he was trying to look for his family. He found his family in the first season when he was walking all over Georgia to look for him. This was different. The group was his family. Daryl was his brother. Maggie was like a sister. Michonne was the love of his life. I hope so. And then, of course, you have Judith. And then, whatever characters remain, Carol was, again, another voice of reason, like a sister type. And, when I started watching the episode, I came up like, kind of towards the end of it. So when he's leading all these zombies, through this bridge, which again I haven't been watching, so I didn't know the significance of the bridge. He's leading them over the bridge, and obviously he's thinking that they would fall through it, but then he realizes it's very sturdy. He made it sturdy enough for humans to walk over it, but he would think that the zombies would crash through it, but that didn't happen. So sorry, asthma. So he sees dynamite dropping over the bridge, or dropping on the bridge, and he realizes, okay, I got it. Pulls out his classic grip gun. He sees his friends trying to save him from getting hurt. And actually, let me kind of backtrack. The final vision he has is not the one with Sasha. It's the one he has one where he's walking past the bridge and he falls over, and then he sees his friends go after the zombies and beat the shit out of them and kill him. Right then and there, I realized, okay, he's clearly having an hallucination. He's talking to Michonne, and there's the good line. There's that great line of Rick telling Michonne this isn't real. Michonne kisses him and going, "This is real. Now wake up." He wakes up, and then back to what we were talking about. He sees the dynamite, pulls out his gun. He sees everybody trying to save him, and he goes, "I found him." Okay, at first I didn't realize what that meant, and then I had to rewatch the episode, and I realized, okay, I get what he's talking about. And blows up the bridge. They're thinking he got caught in the crossfire, and that was my immediate thought, which was he wasn't even near the explosion. He was I guess close enough to it to be blown away, but he wasn't actually in the explosion. So they're thinking that's what happened, and you see Daryl crying, and Daryl doesn't just cry for anything. Like, he saw his best friend, his brother, get caught in this explosion the way he thinks it. And Carol and Maggie have to hold back Michonne. Anyways, at the end of the episode, you see, again, this is where me not watching the show comes into play. I don't remember her name. I've seen her before, I just don't remember her name. She kind of looks like Mila Jovovich. She's a part of that group that was supposed to help out Rick's group, but she was actually in cahoots with Negan's group. She sees Rick lying in the ditch, and he's still alive. And she's thinking, okay, this is my chance to help. And she's on the walkie-talkie with some dude in a helicopter, and she's saying, I found him. And this guy's going, you better not be playing with me or whatever. And no, I'm going to save him because you saved me. So at the end of the episode, Rick's on a helicopter. He wakes up, and she says, I saved you. We're going to make sure everything's okay. They fly off into the sunset, and what looks like an obvious time jump, you see these, I think it's like five random people just come out of nowhere, start killing zombies, and you see 3 or 4 zombies go down with a gunshot to the head. You hear, "It's okay, come here," or whatever. And it's a little girl. It's obvious who that is. It's Judith. She puts on Rick's hat. She says who she is. She says, "Hi, I'm Judith Grimes." She has Rick's gun. This is a time jump, and it's revealed that it's a 6-year time jump. And it shows what happens in the next couple episodes. Shows Daryl doing his thing. Shows Carol with long hair and a crossbow. It shows the rest of the group. It's starting to have an interesting look now, because now the zombies apparently are thinking. They're becoming smarter, because at the end of the I guess the preview for the next, what's happening in the rest of the season is, I'm forgetting your name. I need to rewatch the series to get more in tune with some of the characters. They're doing the old bit where they cover themselves in zombie blood, and you see zombies walking past, but this time you hear them talk. You hear somebody say, "Where are they?" And at the end of the trailer, you see the zombies just walking around in a circle. Jesus and the other guy, the guy who played Red Skull in Infinity War, Jesus asked him, they're just, walking around in a circle, Have you ever seen him do that before? No, never. So it's starting to get interesting. So I'm definitely gonna have to start watching it again. It looks like it's getting interesting. You're in a post-apocalyptic world, or I'm fucking out my words. You're in a new world without Rick Grimes. So, and on Talking Dead, it was announced that by one of the creators of the show, or the creator, Andrew Lincoln is done with Walking Dead, but Rick Grimes isn't. They have announced that AMC will be making 3 movies about Rick Grimes, basically showing, what's happening to Rick, post him leaving, the group in Georgia. Andrew Lincoln did an interview with Yvette Nicole Brown, who's one of the super fans of Walking Dead, basically saying that it's gonna be different than The Walking Dead, that's for sure, because it's gonna explore outside of Georgia. It's gonna be a whole new world, and it might even be overseas from the way he talked about it. I'm interested in that. It's basically showing Rick, just Rick. Because when Andrew Grimes talked about the show, he said, it's not just Rick Grimes. It's, there's been episodes where it's been a Daryl story. It's been an Abraham story. It's been a Glenn story. It's been a Maggie story. Rick is the star of the show, but it's not just his story. It's everybody else's. So there's going to be 3, made-for-TV movies on AMC, which apparently are going to start next year, and they're all going to be about Rick. It's going to be about what's going on with him, while everybody else is in Georgia. Might even explore his backstory. Scott Gimple, revealed that there's going to, I think he said that there's going to be more, Walking Dead shit. There might even be, prequels, showing the past lives of the characters, which I'd be interested in that. I want to know what happened with Daryl and Merle. That'd be interesting, story. Anything with with Michael Rooker, I'm interested in watching. I want to see what happened with Maggie. I want to see what happened with Negan. Negan. I think Negan's would be fucking sad as hell. I definitely want to see Rick and Shane, their lives before the zombie thingy, or an Abraham backstory. I want to fucking see that. That would be the most interesting story out of all of them. So this catches my interest. The episode apparently had the highest ratings that it's had in a while, because the ratings for Walking Dead so far have been BAD bad. But the Rick leaving episode got them the ratings that they wanted. So I don't know. Hopefully this helps them with the show moving forward. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, because the ratings weren't even that good with Andrew Lincoln on. But yeah, that's her name, Jadis. There you go. The person who saved her was Jadis. So there you go. That is the last episode with Rick Grimes, or with Andrew Lincoln. As far as the whole show, apparently Maggie's leaving too. I'm reading this on Screen Rant. It was Rick's last show. It was also Lauren Cohen's last episode as Maggie. Could be forgiven for not realizing, though. Since the last time we see Maggie, she's with the others, distraught over Rick's supposed death, with no immediate intentions of leaving the community. Apparently, though, Maggie disappears from the show during the big time jump at the end of what comes after. I'm just going to read this. Maggie, by contrast, apparently just disappeared off screen. The news of Maggie's departure was confirmed by showrunner Angela Kang, who told the Hollywood Reporter that's the last for her this season. I would hope it's not the last you'll see of her on the show, but she is not in any immediate immediately forthcoming episodes, Maggie left to go and join Georgie, the woman who gave her the key to a future book, who had been attempting to persuade Maggie to become a part of her group for some time. However, we won't find out officially where Maggie has gone until at least episode 6, which will get the audience caught up after the time jump. So yeah, Maggie's out. Going back to what happened in the Rick's last episode, there was a scene with Maggie and Negan. Maggie meets Negan for the first time since he killed Glenn. She has a crowbar, which the thought process in the crowbar was that it's supposed to be something that's as big as the Lucille bat. So she comes back to the gated community, which I call it. I don't know what the fuck it's called. Again, I haven't been watching it. She comes back. Michonne knows why the fuck she's here. They have a good scene, her and Michonne, where she tells Michonne, I gotta do what I gotta do. Michonne's telling her Glenn wouldn't want this. And, she can't get through to Maggie. Maggie's like, he killed Glenn. He took Glenn away from me. Glenn, now my child doesn't have a father. And there's no way to get through to Maggie, so Michonne just says, you do what you gotta do, make your decision however you want. She goes in, she meets Negan, and Negan pretty much tries to goad her into, bashing his brains in. She's telling him, get on your knees, and Negan just starts crying. He says, kill me, please, just make it quick, do it already. She throws him against the wall, and she's saying, you have to kill me. It has to be you, so I can meet with my wife, Lucille. And then, I forget what the line is, but I should have taken notes on this. But, Maggie's saying, Negan's already dead. Like, that Negan is already dead. So, I don't think I need to kill you because you're pretty much already dead. And she throws him back into his cell. And that was pretty much it. And, in the trailer for the next couple episodes, Negan is still a prisoner, and I guess he's forming some type of bond with Judith, where Judith says, those new people we found, and he says, let me guess, we're going to help them. So I don't know what Negan's role is going to be, for this group. I guess he's obviously one of the good guys, but they don't trust him just yet. I mean, I think they should, but that's just me. So Maggie, Lauren Cohen, she's done. I think it was announced that she was done. She's gonna move on. They basically did the same thing with Rick. They didn't kill her off. They just said that she's off somewhere else, which I agree. I'm reading this. It's kind of a lame way to just write a character out of the show who's been a mainstay on the show, because she came out in season 2, I believe. She met Glenn. Glenn. I'm fucking up my words already. So she went from just being someone who was just, the pretty, sexy ass looking farmer's daughter to being a fucking badass, to being a leader. So, I mean, I don't know, is she off the show for good? Because I know Andrew Lincoln is, but is she off the show for good? Like, is she off the show just for this whole season, or for good? So I don't know. We're gonna have to find out the next episode. Again, I'm gonna watch it. As far as like how the rest of the show goes, Daryl and Carol, that rhymes. Daryl and Carol are getting big ass fucking raises. They're signing multi-year deals to pretty much be the new stars of the show. I'm reading this. Norman Reedus and Melissa McBride have just signed brand new multi-year contracts with the overall Walking Dead franchise. Denai Guerrilla Michonne is in the process of negotiating new franchisee herself. That's good for her. That's we figured that. Ooh. As far as Rick's movie trilogy or perhaps a guest shot on Fear the Walking Dead down the road, that could work. AMC has also previously expressed a desire to create new spin-off series that could potentially play host to the two stars. Still, it seems unlikely either will be plucked out of the flagship show anytime soon, as AMC has to know losing Rick as a regular leaves a big hole in the cast. So there you go. McBride and Reedus have a substantial pay raise. It's likely that Guerrera will get a similar financial boost, also due to the fact that she's in Black Panther. However, the same movie career might prevent her from committing to the same type of long-term deal that her co-stars have just signed. Keeping Guerrera in the fold is definitely something AMC will be looking to do, not only because Lincoln has left the show, but because Lauren Cohen is set to depart as well. That'll suck. Yeah, if Maggie leaves, that'll suck. I love Maggie. So, yeah, it looks like the three the three biggest stars of the show now are going to be Michonne. Who I love Michonne. Daryl and Carol. I was on the mindset that if Rick leaves, if they were going to kill Rick off, they should have just canceled the show, because Rick is the star of the show. I mean, that's just common knowledge. Obviously, they didn't kill him off. They just, I guess, retired him, whatever you want to call it. They pulled a Paul Walker on Fast and Furious. They didn't kill him off. They just retired his character. So, I don't know how that's going to work. But, I mean, unpopular opinion. I like Daryl, but Daryl's not my main reason for watching the show whenever I do watch the show. Daryl's more of like a second character. He's not a star. I'll put it to it that way. He's Falcon to Chris Evans' Captain America. Rick was Captain America, and Daryl's Falcon. And I guess Carol is Hawkeye now. Or not Hawkeye. She might be Black Widow. No, Black Widow is Michonne. Definitely fucking Michonne. And so I think if any, Michonne can keep the show going. She's one of the interesting characters, and she stole the show in Black Panther, and she was pretty interesting in Infinity War. So I'll definitely watch the show just to see what they can do, just see what they'll do, just see what happens. I'm not sure who the villains are going to be now. Who can it, all right? Somebody listens to this show. Like, who are the villains? Who are going to be the new villains in Walking Dead? Obviously, it's going to be these new zombies that are the fact that the zombies are becoming smarter, and then you have these new people that are part of the group. So I'm looking at this other article on Screen Rant. Yeah, Screen Rant, and it's saying seven unanswered questions from that episode. It seemed like a season finale, but it was like not even in the middle of the season. So it's saying, will Rick return after the movies? I would think so. If it's going to explain his story and also going to explain, where the hell he's going to be this whole time, I would think he would come back. Also, I would think by the time those movies are done, the show would be done. I know what's his name, fucking Opie from Sons of Anarchy. He's going to be on the show, and he's going to play one of the new villains. All right, here's an interesting one. Why did Rick dream of Sasha? An argument can be made, certainly, for Shane's inclusion in John Berthel's highly publicized return, undoubtedly added to the hype of the episode. Rick's dream of Sasha is hard to explain. In The Walking Dead, Sasha was very much a supporting character and certainly had a very little personal attachment to Rick. Did she, though? I know I said I don't watch it that much as I used to anymore. I don't know. I don't remember Sasha being that important to Rick. There are an array of faces could have been a better fit in this moment. Carl, Lori, Glenn. I think Glenn would have been a better fit, honestly. Why did Rick dream of Sasha? Either because she was the only past member of the show's main cast willing to appear, or because she's in Star Trek now and more famous, I guess. Because again, Sasha wasn't. I don't think she was that important to Rick. What's happened to Judith? She's become a badass. What's happened in the time jump? We'll find out in the next episode. Yeah, that's what I want to know. Who are the villains in this season? Every season has, their villains. Who are the villains in this season? I'm going to look it up. Who's the next Walking Dead villain? Ryan Hurst, there you go. Hollywood Reporter. The newest villain in the Walking Dead universe has been named Ryan Hurst, best known for his star on Sons of Anarchy. Joins the cast, and his recurring role of the villain is Beta. Beta. Okay. I don't know who the fuck that is, but okay. Walking Dead Beta. Let me type that in real quick. Alright, Beta. Come on. Alright, Beta. Beta is a character and antagonist in the first... God, come on. Really? Alright. A high-ranking member of the Whisperers, initially acting as second-in-command to Alpha. He became the de facto leader of the group after her demise. Blah, blah, blah. Brutal and unmoving, Beta is aggressive to any and all outsiders. He is obedient to a fault and strictly adheres to the rules set by Alpha. Even when she does not follow him, he is extremely protective of Alpha, partially as her bodyguard and second in command, and also in part due to his feelings for her. Beta becomes even more dangerous after Alpha's untimely death. He wears a skin mask on his face at all times, even outside of the presence of walkers. If anyone tries to remove it, Beta will kill them without a second thought. He is a large man, around 7 feet tall. Oh, that's Ryan Hurst for sure. The Whisperers, alright. I vaguely know about the Whisperers. Yeah, the Whisperers are a mysterious group of survivors who disguise themselves with roamer skin to blend in with them and not get noticed. So Ryan Hurst will be the new big bad of this season. I met Ryan Hurst at Comic-Con. This is my first Comic-Con. And I don't meet too many celebrities, so I wasn't too sure to act around him. I didn't act like a screaming fangirl, but I kind of just froze up because I was thinking in my head, what am I going to say? And when I met him, I'm like, "Oh, you're Opie." This isn't me trying to kiss ass. I liked Opie. I liked Opie on Sons of Anarchy. He was Jack's kind of like his North Star, his moral compass, along with Tara. But I think Ope was more. In my opinion, I think Opie was more important than Tara, because Tara, yeah, she was the mother of Jack's kids and whatnot. But I think when Ope died, I think that's when you start to see that change in Jax. I can talk about Sons of Anarchy all day. Man, I wish Kevin Castle was here because he can talk about Sons of Anarchy, but that's another story for another time. If and when I can have Kev back on the show. But yeah, that's pretty much my Walking Dead talk for this whole episode. Again, I'm gonna have to start watching it again. It looks interesting. I might have to start rewatching it so I can know what the fuck's going on, because I had no idea why that chick did what she did. So I just remember her apparently working with Rick, and then she betrayed him because she was with Negan. But yeah, I'm gonna have to start watching it. Next episode is this Sunday, so I'm gonna have to look into that. So yeah, that's my Walking Dead news. Other news, Venom's box office. Venom. We're gonna talk about more Venom. Venom's box office success lessens the possibility that Sony will return the rights to Spider-Man and related characters in Marvel, analysts say. Sony officially kicked off their own superhero cinematic universe with Ruben Fletcher's movie starring Tom Hardy's Venom. When it looks like, fans will see more of the actor in the role as the studio is expected to continue building the franchise. It made over $500 million at the box office, even enough to merit a sequel for a financial standpoint. This might be a good news for those who like the movie, but not so much for fans hoping that Spider-Man rights will be turned to Marvel, similar to what's happening with Fox. And Fantastic Four. Box office analyst Jeff Bach breaks down the Venom's financial success. If it had failed, there's a chance Sony would have definitely returned the bargaining table at Disney. Now it's up in the air. Sony took a calculator versus Venom. Now it's going to be a series. If it seems Disney needs Sony Spider-Man more than Sony needs Disney. If they consistently make films audiences want to see, Disney will have to buy Sony to get Spider-Man back. This is just the beginning of Sony's reemergence as a studio box office distinction. They're not giving it up without a fight. I don't know. I just take this with a grain of salt because in the end, Venom will appear in a Spider-Man movie. You can't have Venom without Spider-Man. I mean, they've alluded that what's it called? That Sony wants to build their own Venomverse, and that they might actually cast their own Spider-Man. Which that's stupid. Don't do that. I mean, that will just confuse the shit out of people. It's kind of like what they're doing in DC, which it's kind of like what they're doing in DC. They're having 2 Flashes and 2 Supergirls. They're having a Supergirl movie and a Supergirl TV show, which is like that's just confusing. Like I'm personally on the mindset. I'm personally on the mindset that if they're gonna make these movies, cast the actors that are already in the shows. I mean, yeah, granted they're TV actors, they're not movie actors, but they're still actors. We're more used to Grant Gustin as the Flash. We're not used to Ezra Miller as the Flash. We've only seen him in one thing, and that's Justice League. We're not used to whoever is going to play Supergirl. And supposedly they can't use certain characters on the TV shows because of the movies. They had to stop using Deathstroke because they're making a Deathstroke movie. Now, apparently, they're not making a Deathstroke movie. They can't refer to the Joker on Gotham as the Joker because of the Joker movies. The fucking 13 Joker movies that they're making. So, I don't know. DC's weird. DC has some weird rules. I mean, not to say that Marvel doesn't have weird rules, but... because Sony was successful in the box office, not with critics, but in the box office... They apparently they might just end up keeping a lot of their Spider-Man characters. Fox can literally just come in and say, just give us this shit and we'll make it better. If Disney was in charge of making a Venom movie, would it have been better? Maybe. But I don't know. I like the Venom movie. It had its flaws. We point out the obvious flaws, but overall, I like Venom. I enjoyed Venom. Looking forward to see Carnage versus Venom. We'll see how that works out. So there's that. It's kind of a cut and dry story, really. When you look at it. And the news of the day is that European antitrust regulators approved the Disney $71.3 billion offer to Fox for their entertainment assets today on the condition that that it sell its stake in certain television channels in Europe. Disney will have to divest its interest in History, H2, Crime and Investigation, Blaze, and Lifetime in the European Economic Area to avoid harming competition following its purchase from Fox. The channels are controlled by A&E Television Networks, which is a joint venture between Disney and Hearst. The Commission's action has no bearing on the operation of the channels in the U.S. and elsewhere. The European Commission's investigation found that combining Fox and Disney's films studios raised no concerns because the merged company will still faces significant competition from other studios including Sony, Universal, and Warner Bros. So there's that. It was announced that January, literally the beginning of the year, January 1st, 2019, that the deal between Fox and Disney will be official. So, that leads into more Marvel news. That's always been the talk. Is they're doing all these Avengers reshoots? Does that mean that they're adding in the Fox characters? Are we going to see X-Men characters? Are we going to see Fantastic Four characters at the end of Avengers? And at the end of Avengers 4, are we going to see Galactus head to Earth? I don't know. Only time will tell. Probably not. You don't just want to blow your load in one big movie. I wouldn't mind it, but you want to save that for something big. Jude Law is sworn to secrecy on who his character is in Captain Marvel. I mean, the obvious idea is that he's Marvel, that he's the original Captain Marvel. But he can't come out and say who the hell he is. And that interests me because it's obvious that he's Captain Marvel, or that he's Marvel, but I had this thought: what if he's a different character? What if he's a character that we didn't see coming, or that's someone that we hadn't thought of? That's a very interesting plot point. I honestly can't even think off the top of my head who he could be. Because, again, going to it, he's Marvel, but what if he's someone, because of this, Fox and Disney deal, what if he's someone that they literally just made up? Now that they have Fox, what if he's the Silver Surfer in disguise? That'd be interesting. What if he's... Can't think of anyone. I was going to say Adam Warlock, but they already introduced Adam Warlock. Kind of. What if he's an Eternal? What if he's a mutant? I don't know. I can't really think of off the top of my head who he can be. This is where my co-host comes in play, but me and him are kind of having a tiff right now. I won't really go into it, but yeah, that's about it. Avengers 4, we don't know. It supposedly comes out in the beginning of May, but apparently the stories that they pushed back to April 20, the last week of April, like they did with the Infinity War. So yeah, there's that. That's my entertainment news for this show. Wrestling related news, Raw and SmackDown. Raw wasn't that much to really look at. They announced what's going to happen at Survivor Series. We already know the basic matches. Seth Rollins, the Intercontinental Champion, versus the U.S. Champion Nakamura. Who I keep forgetting that he's even in the company. That's how irrelevant they've made Nakamura. There's the match that it should be the main event, but it's not. Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey, champion versus champion. Let me look at Alright, I have the matches on hand. Brock Lesnar versus AJ Styles, champion versus champion. Rematch from last year. If they don't let AJ win this match, then there is no point to this match. AJ kind of has to win this match. AJ has been the champion for a year. Brock's been champion twice. He just became champion again. So, they kind of need to let AJ win this match. Otherwise, there's no point to it. And I'm getting this sneaking suspicion that they're going to make AJ, I guess, job to Brock. And by job, I mean it's going to be a squash match. Why am I getting that feeling? I don't know why I am. I hope it's not true. Last year they had a great match. They should have a great match again, but if AJ doesn't win, there's no point to it. Next match, the Team Raw versus Team SmackDown match with the men. Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, who was named the captain of Team Raw after defeating Angle, with Baron Corbin. For some reason, Braun Strowman is supposedly part of it. He hasn't agreed to it, and there's 2 more slots that need to be filled. In SmackDown, the 2 co-captains are Miz and Daniel Bryan, which is interesting. Shane McMahon, of course, Rey Mysterio and Samoa Joe, who won his match tonight against Jeff Hardy. Rey Mysterio won his match against Andrade Cien Almas, which I don't see the point in him winning. For the women, Team Raw, Alexa Bliss is the captain, who looks fucking good in that suit, by the way. She's not going to wrestle, but she's going to be, I guess, doing what Baron Corbin's doing, I guess. She's still suffering from an injury. Team SmackDown, supposed to be Charlotte Flair, but she supposedly doesn't want to be a captain. She doesn't think she deserves it. Her teammates would be Carmella, Naomi, Sonya Deville, and Asuka. Okay, if I had to pick who's going to be on Team Raw for the women, Bayley. It's kind of obvious. Sasha Banks. And the Riot Squad, I guess. I don't know, that seems kind of very easy. I guess replace Sarah Logan with Natalya. Or, I don't know. Alexa Bliss is going to pick the team members, and she'll more than likely pick some heels. For the men's side, who would be on the men's? Finn Balor, if I had to guess, and Bobby Lashley. Seems fair, I guess. SmackDown Tag Champions versus the Raw Tag Champions, the Authors of Pain, who won it on Monday in a 2-on-1 handicap match against Seth Rollins, and they'll defend against The Bar. That'll be my bathroom break match. What happened on Monday? Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, as you know, they won the tag titles on 2 weeks ago, the night where Roman Reigns, he made his announcement that he was taking some time off or leaving indefinitely due to his battle with leukemia. He revealed his battle with leukemia. Later in the night, Seth Rollins and Dean won the tag titles, and Dean turned on Seth. And Seth had to defend the tag titles by himself against Authors of Pain. Couldn't overcome the 2 big guys, lost the titles, and then Dean came out and told Seth, "You want to know why I turned? You want to know why I did what I did?" And then he shook his head and put the mic down and dirty deeds him. So it seems like they're going to keep this going for a while. If I had to guess, I think they're going to keep this going until maybe TLC. Because I'm interested. I'm actually interested because he's not just coming out and saying, "I did what I did because I hate you and you're a stupid face." No, he's going to play psychological war games with Seth. He looks like he really wants to fuck with Seth. And one thing that's also interesting, Renee Young does not say a word when Dean comes out. It's always Corey, it's always Michael. You never hear Renee say anything, and that makes me think: is Renee gonna be a part of it? Is she gonna support her husband and be the heel valet or heel manager or whatever you want to call it? So I can picture Seth coming out and calling out Dean, and then Renee stands up and gets in the ring and talk shit to Seth, saying you were. Well, she's not gonna say piece of shit, but she's gonna say you were a piece of garbage friend to Seth. You turned his back on him. What did you think was gonna happen? I don't know why you're shocked. And that's when Dean comes out and beats the shit out of Seth, and Renee's just there, smiling and proud of her husband for doing what he did. So I don't know. I can see that happening. I'm interested. The room. One of the big WrestleMania matches that they have in mind is the main event being Seth Rollins versus Dean for the title. I'm interested in that. I want to see that happen. Before Roman, or not Roman, but other news that I forgot to report on the Crown Jewel review was Triple H tore his pectoral. Triple H. I need to make sure I got this right. Had a pectoral injury. Making sure I got the injury right, just so I don't get called out on it. He got a pectoral injury, and he posted a pretty gnarly pic online. Yikes! He just had surgery today. It's not determined when he's going to come back, but the way it looks, he's not going to make WrestleMania. The original idea around WrestleMania is going to be him and Batista. Batista wanted to have one last match with Triple H. So I guess with Triple H gone, we're looking at a WrestleMania where Roman Reigns and Triple H are not going to be a part of it. So, I mean, this makes it interesting because now you can have some new matchups. Kevin Castle suggested having Batista versus Brock and having Batista winning the title, almost like a feel good moment, and then dropping it to whomever, Drew McIntyre or Dean Ambrose. I would drop it to Dean. I prefer Dean over anything, especially since he's doing his best impression of Tommaso Ciampa. So that depends if Dean's heel run is gonna get over big, which it should. People fucking love Dean. People love Seth, so we're interested to see where this is going to go. And then the Team Raw, Team SmackDown, tag teams. The New Day were named the captains of the SmackDown tag teams, and they chose the Usos as their first team. Survivor Series is next week. Actually, that's weird. Usually it's like the same week as Thanksgiving, but they decided to make it a week before for whatever reason. It's going to be November 18th. Los Angeles Staples Center. I think TakeOver already has their lineup already full. It's the night before, and that's pretty much I think that's what people are really looking forward to, is just TakeOver. Which it's weird that it's crazy how developmental is always going to be more interesting than the main show, and for some reason the matches aren't coming up for TakeOver. The fuck. Alright. War Games. Come on. I know it's Ciampa and Dream for the title, which that'll be fucking fun to watch. And are you kidding me? Come on. It's not giving me the card. I can't find the card for War Games for some reason. Tommaso Ciampa and Velveteen Dream for the title, NXT Championship. Aleister Black versus Johnny Gargano. That should be a good match. Johnny Gargano revealed as the man who took out Aleister Black. They're basically doing the same. They're basically doing the same storyline, except Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose are friends, and Johnny Gargano and Aleister Black are not. They're basically doing the same storyline. He attacked him for no reason, and they're not really. He's not revealing why he did it until he feels like it. So that'll be a good match. War Games match. Undisputed Era, Cole, Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong. I think that dude Bobby Fish, is he still hurt? I'm not sure. Versus Pete Dunne, Ricochet, and the War Raiders. So that'll be fun. Last year, the Undisputed Era won the first War Games match in NXT in a pretty awesome match. So, this is going to be their new gimmick. We're the kings of War Games. Oh, that'd be interesting. So yeah, that's NXT TakeOver for next week. I'm going to watch it. I asked for that day off specifically. I don't get Survivor Series. I'm going to watch it, of course, because I like Survivor Series. I like the concept of it. Team versus team. By this time next year, supposedly the whole brand split thing is going to be over, which I'm kind of glad, because the shows aren't very good because we're limited to who we can watch. And I hope they do my idea and just do away with multiple titles, just go back to having one set of titles. So it'll be more interesting next year for say NXT, because now you can see different matchups. But whatever. Again, I like Survivor Series and Royal Rumble because I like their concepts. So, anyways, that's pretty much it for tonight. A big chunk of this show was taken up by Walking Dead, which is good. More news for everybody. And then, of course, you have your typical wrestling talk. Raw, I didn't get a chance to watch. I just saw what happened. It wasn't that eventful. What happened on Raw that was really worth talking. Well, I just talked about the whole Dean Ambrose thing. Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. SmackDown, again, I didn't really watch too much. I watched towards the end with the whole segment with the women where Mandy, with her creepy entrance music, Mandy, she comes out and just insults everybody. She insults Naomi and says shit about her husband. Gets her ass beat. Whatever. The main event, Samoa Joe versus Jeff Hardy. Typical match, what you expect from these two. Samoa Joe won via cocaine clutch. She tried to get in Daniel Bryan's face. Daniel Bryan wasn't having that. He ends up, beating his ass. Miz comes out and tries to pull him off, and Daniel Bryan hits him back. Shane McMahon tries to pull him off. Daniel Bryan, I guess thought that was Samoa Joe, and flips Shane, leaves the ring. Supposedly, they're teasing that Shane is a heel. I don't really care for that, because I don't know. I said this to John Draper. Shane as a heel, I don't buy, because Shane is too likable to be a heel. Stephanie pulls off being a heel because we're under the assumption that Stephanie is a heel in real life, that she's a fucking bitch in real life. Same thing with Triple H. He works as a heel because he is a fucking dick in real life. Same thing with Vince McMahon. Shane, out of the whole McMahon family, I don't think has ever fit the heel role right. Even when he first came on television, I didn't buy him as a heel because he's too likable to be a heel. When he's a heel, he just comes off as kind of like this douchey frat boy. So I don't know where they're going with this, but I don't like it. I mean, I don't like the whole. Basically, Raw already has a heel, authority figure. Let SmackDown keep its, face authority figures. So, anywho, my back is killing me from sitting here this whole fucking time. you already know the drill. The show will be uploaded by midnight or past midnight. Shows every Wednesday. Wherever you listen to podcasts, Google Play, iTunes, you can find the show. Spreaker is our home base. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, make sure you leave a review on iTunes. Twitter, you know where to find me, Drew Yari Show. Same thing. You have any questions, comments, or concerns, make sure you get at me on Twitter. Send me a nice little message. I have a Facebook page too, but I'm not really on there that much. And what else? The newest episode of Texas Podcast Massacre was the episode I was on. I was on it. I just said that twice. We reviewed the movie Insidious. It's a very good episode. I listened to it and, this is where I critique myself. Well, I'm like, man, I wish I would have said that differently. But overall, I love my experience on the show. I love those dudes, Mitch and Nate. They're my boys, my Texas brothers. They said I can be back on the show, but we'll see how that goes. I'm playing. Those are good dudes. They're honest. They're great dudes. Listen to their podcast. They don't need me. They don't need me advertising for them. They are already light years ahead of me. Listen to the podcast. They have their own website, Twitter handle, Texas Podcast Massacre. Same thing with my boys at the Wrestling Soup, Mish, John Draper, who I just mentioned, will be on the show in 3 weeks. Joey Numbers, who, again, another dude I love to have on the show. I actually would love to talk sports with him and some wrestling because, Joey's a ref. He has some insider knowledge. Don Tony Kevin Castle Show. You already know about them. Kevin Castle has a show on Patreon, Dark Chronicles, Castle Chronicles. Trez is on Dark Chronicles. Just showing some love to my friends. Friends of the show. Love them. And that will do it. I will bid you adieu. Will I do something later on this week? If I do, I'll let you know about it. Depends on what's going on in the week. Other than that, I will see you next week, same time, same place. Thanks.